Good morning and welcome. We are delighted to have you join us for our Sunday morning service. Whether you are joining us in person or online, we hope you'll come again. This morning after service, we will be hosting a meet and greet from 11:30 to 12:30 in Gale House. Gale House is the greenhouse located next to Unity Temple. New and longtime congregants alike are welcome to attend. It's a great way to get to know new people. There are so many ways to become an active member of our congregation. If you would like to learn more, we'd love to get to know you and help you make new connections. I'm happy to talk with you in person, on Zoom, or by phone. Please contact me, Tina Lewis, at tlewis@unitytemple.org if you'd like to set up a time. You may also fill out a visitor form on our website at www.unitytemple.org or at the welcome table in the foyer after service. We hope you have a meaningful experience and will join us again.
Good morning. I am Amy Conrad. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve on your Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this morning, whether you're here in the sanctuary or online. If you're here for the first time, we are so excited that you're joining us and are excited to get to know you. We invite everybody present in the sanctuary today to join us in an in-person community hour right after the service. Each week, we remind ourselves of our congregation's core values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody those core values in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. We are so glad you are with us today. We hope you find inspiration and meaning here. And I invite you now to take a moment to greet one another both online and in the sanctuary.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Marty Swisher. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the music director of this congregation. My name is Stephen Colbert. Anyway, today is an exciting day because the 2023 Winter Chalice Singers, our children's choir, is meeting for the first time today. And if you are in between the ages of 6 and 11, an 11-year-old talked me into this and I was happy to have him, I want you to find me and eat donuts with me down there after this service. Now, I know that some of you are hiding here. I know I got some former chalice singers. And if you are a former chalice singer, wave your hand. I see you. Thank you, Evan. Woohoo! If you're not sure if you want to sing with me, you just come down in there and have a donut, and in 5 minutes, you might feel differently. So the idea is just come on, and we are going to have a blast. And in 5 Sundays, you are going to be singing with me, having your back for this worship service. So chalice singers support. I want those people down there for donuts. Bye.
Our chalice lighter today is Reverend Dawn Cooley. Reverend Dawn likes all the colors, and it is special to her today because her whole family is here. Please join me in the words of our chalice lighting. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other.
Our opening words this morning are by Kimberly Ann Tomczak Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome to your heart home. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, and wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together.
Please rise as you are able and continue to stand after the song for the covenant. We will sing together, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door, number 1 in the grade room. Please join me in saying the words of our covenant, which you can find in our program or on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Good morning. I'm Jay Peterson, a member of Unity Temple's spiritual care team. The care team supports our community by providing confidential and caring listening and companionship. If you want to be heard and understood, if you can't find your way home, if something comes up in your life and you would like a confidential listening ear, feel free to contact the spiritual care team. You can reach us individually by contacting Reverend Dawn or by emailing spiritualcare@unitytemple.org. We also have these bright blue hearts on our name tags. This is the time during the service in which we share joys and sorrows. This sharing is one of the ways we embody love, express our humanity, and create a caring community. Please know that for joys and sorrows shared, we will use the first name of third parties represented in your joys and sorrows, but we will not mention the last name while we mention them. These are the joys and sorrows that we share today. Kathy Russell shared that two close friends recently lost their daughters. Monique and John lost their 21-year-old daughter as a result of a drunk driver. Amy and Jim lost their 32-year-old daughter as a result of pancreatitis. Please lift them and all who are close to them in prayer and thought. Nancy Sidman requests thoughts and prayers for her mom, Jean, who is transitioning to memory care. Dan Andres is asking you to send healing thoughts to Chap, a gentle spirit and wise film teacher and mentor to many in his decades at Columbia College. Chap is recovering from a fall at a rehab facility in the city. Our sanctuary today is filled with spoken and unspoken joys and sorrows. When the music begins, I invite anyone holding a joy or sorrow to come forward and silently drop a stone into the bowl of water at the rear of the sanctuary. Our caring community, the water, holds these mingled joys and sorrows, the stones. As you come forward, just make your way along both ways along the back. And I invite you to sing hymn 123, Spirit of Life. We will repeat the song until all have had a chance to drop a stone into the water. you are held in the hands of this loving community. Let us enter a moment of prayer and meditation together. Hold on to life-affirming joy, personal, private, communal, or shared. Whether simple, fleeting, growing, and abiding, quiet, or exuberant, practice gratitude and admiration. Find delight. Sit with life's inevitable sorrows, whether personal or sorrows of the whole world, of pain and loss, illness, anxiety, prejudice, and be buoyed by self-compassion, compassion for all, ever expanding. Let love lead your way. May we create openings in ourselves and in our community for hearing and holding others in our hearts in times of joy and sorrow.
Since we have the amazing Unity Temple players here today, I'm going to ask that our young people remain in their seats for the story. And I'd like to invite my friend Ray from the Unity Temple players to come up and help me with the story today. The story I have to share today is about a character who uses a tool to help them out. But, spoiler alert, in the end, learns that this character has everything they need already, and they are enough, just like all of you. And now, Pete the Cat and His Magic Sunglasses by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete the Cat did not feel happy. Pete had never, ever, ever, ever been grumpy before. Then, as if things were not bad enough, along came Grumpy Toad. Grumpy Toad was never happy. He always wore a frown. But Grumpy Toad was not grumpy today. He said, "These cool blue magic sunglasses make the blues go away. They help me see things in a whole new way." Pete put on the cool blue magic sunglasses. He looked all around. Right on. The birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining, I'm feeling all right. Pete thanked Grumpy Toad for the cool blue magic sunglasses. He went on his way, and he soon saw Squirrel. Squirrel did not look happy. Pete said, "What's wrong, Squirrel?" "I'm so mad. Nothing is going my way. I only found one acorn today." Pete said, "Try these cool blue magic sunglasses. They'll help you see things in a whole new way." squirrel put on the cool blue magic sunglasses and looked all around. Awesome. The birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining, I'm feeling all right. Pete said goodbye to the squirrel and continued on his way. Soon he saw his friend Turtle. Turtle did not look happy. "What's wrong, Turtle?" Pete asked. "I'm so frustrated. Nothing is going my way. I'm all upside down today." Pete kept rolling along until he saw Alligator. Alligator did not look happy. "What's wrong, Alligator?" Pete asked. "I'm so sad. Nothing's going my way. No one wants to play with me today." Pete said, "Try these cool blue magic sunglasses. They help you see things in a whole new way." Alligator put on the cool blue magic sunglasses, looked all around, rockin'. The birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining, I'm feeling all right. Pete was rolling along and feeling all right when suddenly he fell back. The cool blue magic sunglasses went crack. Uh-oh. Pete didn't know what to do without those sunglasses. Just then, Pete looked up at the tree. Wise old owl said, "Pete, you don't need magic sunglasses to see things in a new way. Just remember to look for the good in every day." Pete looked around without his sunglasses. Too cool. Birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining, we're feeling all right. The end. Young people, let's go find our religious education classes.
My goodness, the talent here at Unity Temple. Thank you all. In 1987, the UU Ministers Association published the book, How to Case a Church, an irreverent guide to finding and getting the church of your choice by Peter Rabel. For decades, this book was the go-to guide for Unitarian Universalist ministers who were in search for a congregation to serve. There is a lot of helpful material in this book, buried in the various bits of information about checking out the community a congregation resides in, examining a plethora of financial pieces of information about a church, comes this gem, and I quote, "Ministers often neglect to take a close look at the church's property. If the church is shabby and run down, the congregation may lack ownership of its facilities or be constantly delaying routine maintenance because of budget difficulties. The appearance of different areas can also be revealing. Is the parlor kept immaculate while the church school rooms are dark and dirty? A perceptive inspection of the church facilities can reveal much, particularly unspoken attitudes." End quote. I remember the first time I visited a specific Unitarian Universalist congregation located downtown in a medium-sized city. Let's call them downtown UU. As we were about to walk into the building, one of the members told me the church had an edifice complex. Though this term originated in the 1970s to describe a situation in the Philippines, that's not how she was using it. This member was using it to explain that the congregation had perhaps an unhealthy obsession with their building. She shared the story of how the church had burned to the ground in the 1980s, with only the exterior stone walls remaining from the building that had been built there originally over 100 years ago. After the fire, rather than sell the land and move out to the suburb, as most congregations were doing, the church hired an architect who would use those original walls and design a unique worship, religious education, and office space. She said, "I would understand it when I saw it." And she was right. I did. When you entered the sanctuary, your eyes were immediately swept upward 2 stories to a beautiful ceiling. Then you couldn't help but notice the stained glass with abstract geometric shapes and lines. The stage and the pulpit area were all movable and reconfigurable, as were the chairs. The congregation enjoyed being able to orient the sanctuary in whatever direction they felt like, or even to take the pulpit area and stage out entirely. The floor was a versatile poured concrete. Yes, when I saw it, I understood what the congregant had meant when she had said an edifice complex. It was holy and spiritual space, and they loved it. Does that part sound familiar? Your story is not too dissimilar. On Sunday, June 4th, 1905, there was a massive thunderstorm here in Oak Park. Lightning struck the old Unity Church building located at Wisconsin and Pleasant. The fire started in the steeple, but soon spread throughout the building. Fortunately, there was time to go in through the back door and save some tables and chairs and even a couple of pianos before the fire got so hot that it melted the stained glass windows. At a congregational meeting just 5 days later, Unity Church voted unanimously to rebuild, but on a more central location in the village. And so this site was soon purchased. A few months later, after considering 8 different architects, Frank Lloyd Wright was selected to build the new building. In part because he had a familiarity with the congregation. It was where his mother attended, and there are some reports that he himself was a member at some time. Some congregants who expressed a desire for a more traditional style church building were surprised, as that was not Wright's reputation. Wright was a believer that form must fit function. The function for Unity Temple, this side of the building, was a temple for worship, for experiencing the transcendent, the numinous. While the other side of the building, Unity House, Frank Lloyd Wright considered the more secular aspects of the congregation, the Sunday school, the community gatherings, and more. Now, the story of the creation of Unity Temple is a tale unto itself, and in fact, there are books written about it. But long story short, this building was finally dedicated 4 years, 3 months, and 22 days after the fire. Notably, Wright himself later said that Unity Temple was the edifice in which he ceased to be an architect of structure and became an architect of space. But where the downtown UU church building had been built in more contemporary times with a modern understanding of what a faith community needed, this building was not built with an understanding of what the congregation would need in the late 20th century, much less the 21st century. It was built with an understanding of what a church needed over 100 years ago. And though the restoration a few years ago did a lot to modernize this space, there is a limit to what can be done. And so this congregation has had to adjust over the years. As your religious education program grew out of Unity House, you converted the old parsonage next door, Gale House, to religious education space. But that still wasn't enough room for nearly 600-member congregation with more than 200 kids in religious education and more than half a dozen staff members. The congregation rented office space in a couple of different locations downtown. And so a few years ago, in 2016, you purchased the old billiards hall at 1019 South Boulevard and converted it to both religious education space and offices. A book should be written about that as well. When your staff moved into 1019 in 2017, it was the first time they had all been co-located in one building. I suspect that one of the reasons the congregation was so eager to purchase the 1019 building was because at the time you were actually worshiping at United Lutheran Church while Unity Temple here was undergoing a restoration between 2015 and 2017. United Lutheran has a more traditional church architectural style where all of the seats are on one level. They had a great school that you used for religious education space and a large fellowship hall. When I talk to those of you who were here at the time, you remember those years very fondly. Because the sanctuary was so large, you were able to go from having 2 services here to only 1 service there. I heard comments of, "I didn't know you were a member of Unity Temple." You also had community hour together and religious education together. So it is not at all surprising to me that as the restoration of Unity Temple was underway, you were looking forward to how you would continue that feeling of community once the restoration was complete. Indeed, the official name for 1019 South Boulevard, although we always call it 1019, the official name is the Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation Community Center. And so, fast forward to today, this congregation maintains 3 buildings just over a quarter of a mile away from each other. With such a distance between the buildings, the community is spread across the campus on Sunday mornings. Some people have never or rarely been in the other buildings. Even though it isn't ideal, I think it is probably still better than what it was like when you rented space in a couple of different buildings across town and tried to squeeze all the religious education in Unity House and Gale House next door. But I confess, sometimes I can't help but wonder, After years of one building task force after another leading up to the restoration, during the restoration, building out 1019, I sometimes wonder what the energy that has been spent on maintaining all of these buildings could have gone into if you didn't have them to worry about so much. And I wonder how sustainable this all is, not just from a cost perspective, but man, 3 buildings is a lot to maintain. That is a lot of property to take care of, particularly with no funding currently allocated for a building manager. Indeed, you have no paid building staff and only 3 congregation members and a board representative on the newly constituted and quite overwhelmed Properties Committee. If you see a Properties Committee person, give them a big thank you for all they are doing. In any congregation, the building or buildings are a character in the story of the life of the congregation. Whether the congregation loves or hates their buildings, whether they own them or rent them, the buildings play a role and impact how the congregation lives, its story, and its mission. And while other congregations may also deal with multiple buildings and maybe even a spread out campus, there is one thing that is pretty unique here. I am not aware of any other Unitarian Universalist congregations in the United States that are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So what does all of this mean? What role does this building play now in the life of this congregation? This is something that I have been wondering about for the past 18 months that I've been your interim minister. Certainly, the building is centered in your name. This congregation has gone through many names. Originally, Unity Church, where Frank Lloyd Wright got the name Unity Temple. A few years later, it became Unity Universalist Church. In 1954, the church changed its name to the Universalist Church of Oak Park, and then a few years after that, you became the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Park, UCOP. In 1994, UCOP merged with Beacon, and you became the Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation. What does it mean, I wonder, that you have chosen to center your building in your name? While I am not an expert on church architecture in any way, shape, or form, I am an expert on church communities. And I was struck walking through this building for the very first time that I saw virtually no sign of who you are as a congregation. There are no portraits of former ministers or board presidents on the walls, no pictures done by the kids, no framed calligraphy of the 7 principles, no 50-year-old tapestries from the Women's Alliance hanging above the fireplace, no banners, no bulletin boards. Walking through here on a non-Sunday feels like walking through a museum. It is walking through a museum, one that even has tours, but is one in which you, the congregation, pay for all the utilities and all the assorted and sundry maintenance and repairs that are involved. Most other congregations I'm aware of don't have to get their carpet cleaned every month. It's a lot. Perhaps this is the price you pay for historical status. And I wonder, how does worshiping in a museum shape a living congregation? How does being responsible for maintaining a historical site shape that congregation? How does it shape you? And even above all of that, I wonder about the ways that your buildings are helping you to fulfill your mission. After all, your mission is the why that you exist. It is the vision of who and how you want to be in the world. And as lovely and notable as this building is, I believe it would make an inadequate mission for a liberal religious congregation. Don't get me wrong, it's a great mission for a foundation. And the building can certainly support the mission of a congregation. But a building, an edifice by itself, is an insufficient mission for a faith community. And as you proved when you worshiped together at United Lutheran during the Restoration, even when you are not in this building, you are working to build the community encapsulated by your mission. You are larger than this congregation, than this building. The thing is, downtown UU, the congregation that first told me they had an edifice complex, they really didn't. They loved their building, but they didn't worship it. I want to be clear, I am not saying that you worship your building here. Okay. They loved their building, but they didn't worship it. They used it to fulfill their mission. A true edifice complex puts the building before the congregation's mission. At downtown UU, their identity was as the church that stayed downtown. And so they used their building to bolster their identity, to bolster their mission. Because it was spiritual without overtly religious symbology in the building, it was a popular spot for weddings, very similar to this one. Because it was so flexible, community organizations would use it for various events, ranging from their annual meetings to the production of concerts and plays. Because they were downtown, they were often the gathering site and rallying site for protests and marches. The building was a tool in fulfilling their mission. Frank Lloyd Wright designed this building for the community of the times. He designed it to serve the community. I wonder, in what ways does your building situation today, and this building in particular, how does it serve your mission? And in what ways does your building situation present obstacles to that mission? Certainly, there are some ways that these buildings serve your mission beautifully. This building does wonders for inspiring compassion, the second phrase in your mission statement. To be able to look around and see almost everyone all at the same time reminds you that every person's story is different, that we all have our strengths and our struggles. If you haven't, take a moment and just look around. You can, of course, look up here at where the good word is being preached, but you can also look to one another. Fill your eyes with the faces of your beloved friends and fellow congregants. And that is a gift indeed. And the third phrase in your mission statement, that you nurture wonder, well, that was Frank Lloyd Wright's most special talents, wasn't it? People from around the world come here to visit, here to tour this building because of how this sanctuary evokes emotions and provides a transcendent experience. Unitarian Universalists in particular consider this almost a pilgrimage site. This space definitely nurtures wonder. And there are ways where I believe your buildings hinder your mission. When it comes to welcoming all, I feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Maintaining the sanctity of Wright's vision means that you cannot add an elevator either here in the sanctuary or in Unity House, meaning that you cannot be truly accessible. People who come in motorized scooters or wheelchairs, who cannot transfer via a chairlift, are relegated into the cloisters, which you have done a really good job as making nice and making sure that the sound reaches in there. But it cannot be considered equitable seating. Nor can you really consider the possibility of a minister with such accessibility needs. And with Oak Park's rules on historic buildings, there's really only so much you can do next door with Gale House as well. I wonder, too, about serving community, the fourth phrase in your mission statement. Certainly the community of this congregation is served by the building, especially now that you have religious education and office space in 1019, and aren't trying to cram it all in here and at Gale House. But I wonder about the larger community. I know that pre-pandemic you hosted more community gatherings and events here. And I think your community center at 1019 is a great idea, because where this building cannot serve as a warming center, for example, or host refugees, maybe with your other two buildings you can find a way to continue to serve the community as we continue to emerge from the pandemic. I am hopeful that in the coming months before my departure, we can make headway in utilizing 1019 as the community center you wanted it to be. I have come to believe, to have faith really, that as important as your buildings are to you as a congregation, this building in particular, I have faith that you do not, in fact, have an edifice complex. I have faith that your mission at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation is bigger than your buildings, that your buildings are a tool for living your mission, not unlike the sunglasses were a tool in our message for all ages. I believe that your mission saves more lives than this building does, and at the same time that this building is an important character in the story. And after hearing so many of you talk fondly about how lovely it was to worship at United Lutheran during the Restoration, I believe that most of you are here not because of this building, but because inside of you there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring, and you have found that here with the people of this congregation. I believe that you are here because you are looking for a spiritual home, a home that welcomes all, where the whole of who you are as a human being is embraced. A home that inspires compassion, where you can lean on each other in times of need. A home that nurtures wonder, where you are reminded that there is something larger than ourselves. A home that serves community, where you understand that we are all connected. Home is often complicated, and when a home includes a character such as Frank Lloyd Wright's Unity Temple, well, it all gets tangled up. But no matter how complicated it may be, home is more than just a building. It's where the heart is, after all. In this faith community, may you find a place of belonging and caring, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. And may all who come through your doors, physically or virtually, in this building or any others, feel likewise. May it be so.
Each week, we give our Sunday offering to an organization that aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values and is committed to bringing justice, equity, and compassion to our world. This week, we give our offering to Beyond Hunger. Each week, members of our congregation rescue food from Trader Joe's in Oak Park, then sort and deliver it to Beyond Hunger for distribution at their food pantry. With the increased need in our community, Beyond Hunger provides nutritious food, classes, health screenings, and much more to our neighbors in 13 zip codes. Thank you for your continued generous support. You may donate by sending a check to the Unity Temple office with Beyond Hunger on the memo line, or by following the directions on the screen. If you're sitting in the back rows, you'll find baskets under the pews. Please pass them, and someone will be at the back of the main floor to collect all the baskets. May what you give bring you joy.
Please rise as you're able and join us for the second congregational song, number 1021 in the teal hymnal, Lean on Me.
Please be seated. Church is more than a building, writes Amanda Udis Kessler. More than wood or metal or brick or concrete. Church is how we love our neighbor and how we call on one another in times of need. It is how we tend the sick, feed the hungry, heal suffering, welcome strangers, and give of our bounty. Church is faith that's come alive, filling hearts and minds with passion. When the holy lives within us, we are in a holy place. Church may include a building, but it is more than a building. It is our work toward a world made new. And now please join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
This is your